Hi, welcome. I am Aurora. This is Lavender Hazelwood Witches. I'm happy you're here. Thanks for gathering. So, when we're using our intuition, what is the difference between imagination and real intuitive communication? That was a question that came up this weekend in a workshop that I was, in an intuitive workshop that I was assisting with. And the simple answer is you don't know in the end, right? But you go with it anyway, and you see what comes of it. And the way I see it is that intuition and imagination actually go hand in hand, and they are sort of like co-creating whatever's going on inside of you. You have an inquiry, a question, usually of some sort. You're looking for something. And that part is coming from you, your imagination, I guess. The part that is being filled in is what I would call the answer, or what the spirit communication is doing. It's the answer. In Western culture, we have a real habit of tuning into and focusing primarily on what we see in front of us and on our minds. And that is what our culture in today's society values. So it can take a little bit of time to make that adjustment. Don't get me wrong, I am not an expert at this. Like, I screw up all the time, but what I get better and better at is differentiating between when I'm in my thinking mind versus when I'm in the flow, I guess is what I like to call it. When I'm in the flow, that's where I'm getting information. And an example of this, we did this really fun exercise where we got together with a partner, and one of us picked up an object. In our case, it was a little stone. Person A put the stone behind their back in their hands, and then, brought their hands out, and person B had to figure out which hand the stone was in. When it was my turn to guess, I started out by tuning into my senses, because one of the intuitive ways you can sort of work with this kind of problem is by taking in what's around you. So what do you notice? And acting on that guide. Weirdly enough, I kept guessing that empty hand like 8 times in a row. It was just an empty hand. And I was like, why am I getting this backwards? And I don't have an answer for that necessarily, except I was tuned in differently. Once I made the switch to working with it a different way, which was moving into the stone and asking it where it was, then my whole sense of being changed. I started focusing internally and asking the stone where it was. I became the stone. I was able to actually intuit which hand the stone was in. So we did the partner exercise again, and another 8 times in a row, I actually picked the right one. So I went from tuning into the empty hand, and I still haven't figured out why I did that or how that happened, and then switched it and turned into the hand that the rock was in. We can start practicing and looking at these things and utilizing them when we really just trust what is coming through and not second guessing. And I think that's where a lot of us can get in the way, is second guessing what our experience is. It doesn't mean it's going to be right 100% of the time, but if we can just commit to one thing, then we have the opportunity to discover if it really is working for us or not. For me, at this point, the way I see it is there is no differentiation between what's going on in your mind and what's coming to you. It's all kind of the same. But the biggest obstacle we come across is not believing, or believing that it's just our imagination, when in fact that is a key piece to the information that we are getting. If we're going in and we're creating the experience, then it's your imagination. If you're not creating it, but something emerges, then that is the spirit, the other that you're communicating with. So let's just assume across the board, everything in your mind is legit. That the visions that you see, the smells that you smell, the things that you hear, the feelings that you're feeling, the knowing, like the gut feelings that you have, are legit. Then when we make an inquiry, if we assume that all of that is the answer, however it comes to us, then that's the baseline of how we start reading our intuition and the things that are coming to us. Just believe. Just believe. I want to say that was probably the biggest thing that got in my way. And over the weekend, that's what I could see getting in the way of other people too, is the belief that it's all in your mind, that you're making it up, rather than going with what is coming to you. I created a printable sheet that has the process that I'm discussing of how to get into an object. It's available on my Patreon this month. Also, it looks like Shelter Ugoliak is going to be the recipient of the $100 donation from Morley's Friend Fund. But if you'd like to add to that $100 with a one-time donation, I have a Ko-Fi link, coffee link, whatever it's called, in the description. And I will attach whatever you add to the $100 when we donate on Monday. Monday is the full moon, so I'm going to do a live stream to send off the money together. So you can join us. Okay, I will see you. Bye.